What up? What up? Happy Friday and welcome to the Faith Unbuttoned podcast. I'm your host, Pastor K. We are an extension of Never Alone Christian Center, a virtual ministry my wife and I, Ms. Chiffon Wiley, launched out summer of 2021. Thank you guys for continuing to support not only Never Alone Christian Center, but the Faith Unbuttoned podcast. Make sure you visit our website, neveralonecc.org. Check out our YouTube channel. Everything we do streams there, as well as our website. And please subscribe. Turn on the notification, turn on that bell so that you can stay connected with everything that we're doing. With that said, I certainly hope that you guys have had a marvelous Thanksgiving and continue to have a good holiday season. Tonight's topic we're dealing with has a lot to do not only with the holidays, but just in general. I think a lot of times couples go through certain situations and circumstances where the holidays compound our particular topic tonight. We want to get right to it tonight. I'm so excited to always be in a situation where I can encourage couples, young couples, new couples, veteran couples, people who are heading toward relationships or in marriages or whatever the situation may be. I'm always excited to toss the information I believe the Lord has given me through personal experience and just growing and learning and reading on how to help and develop relationships. Tonight, our topic is, my spouse is overwhelmed. How can I help? My spouse is overwhelmed. How can I help? And before I dive into this, I want to touch on a little bit of the holiday seasons that I just did prior to, but I want to go a little bit further. Guys, we're in the holiday season, and sometimes we get stressed, we get overwhelmed, we make decisions that are not always sound judgment, and I would hope that none of us would put ourselves in circumstances where we dive into debt and start to do things that doesn't meet the structure of our household or whatever the case may be. I want us to have a good holiday season, but also I want us to have one that's made up of good choices, especially if you're married in your relationship and your partner's dependent on you to make good choices and you're dependent on them to make good choices. So let's have a peaceful holiday season with family and friends, and let's enjoy it and be thankful and grateful of all the things that God has done for us and protected us throughout the course of the year thus far. With that said, I always like to make mention of the suicide prevention hotline. Okay, this time of the year, we experience so many people who are going through depression and they go to the extent of suicide. If you know someone, or if you yourself are dealing with a situation and you're feeling like suicide is the only way out, well, I'm here to tell you that suicide takes a temporary situation and it makes it permanent. And that's not what God desires for your life or my life or any of our lives. No situation is so hard that God can't get you out of. It may be difficult, it may be tough, it may seem like there's no way to escape, but there is a way out. With that said, the Suicide Prevention Hotline phone number is 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255. If you're feeling this type of mental stress in your life, or you know someone who's feeling this type of mental stress, don't be silent. Help them. Help yourself. Especially during these particular holiday seasons or any time of the year for that matter. I just want to drop that little bit of information there, especially since we're dealing with this topic on my spouse is overwhelmed. How can I help? Okay, well, let me drop my disclaimer. Listen, I'm no doctor, I'm no therapist, I'm no psychologist. I research, I study, I pray, I seek the Lord. I'm led by the Holy Spirit like anyone else. But at the end of the day, I just always like to put that disclaimer out here. These are my opinions as Pastor K here at Never Alone Christian Center. And all my opinions may not reflect the mindset of the Christian church. A lot of them are just my personal opinion on this particular podcast for this setting. I'm working on a 10-week series that's dropping this little nugget to you right before I drop it in 2022. Working on a 10-week series on how to help hurting people. I believe that'll be a good 10-week series that I'm going to be working on, or that I'm working on for the year 2022. I'm not sure how I want to quite push it out yet, but just keep your ear focused to that, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that's where we're shifting all of our streaming videos and teachings and things such like to that particular channel. All right, let's dive into this particular topic. I want to take my time. I don't want to rush through it. And as always, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, drop us a DM, hit us with a message, hit us with an email, and we will respond to you no matter whether it's this topic or any other topic, podcast, midweek service, or Sunday service. You can always reach out to us and we will get back to you. So when we talk about when my spouse is overwhelmed, how can I help? Sometimes when we're married or we're in relationships, be it the husband, the wife, the woman or the man, we go through stuff. We go through stuff, and we can become overwhelmed with life. And we have to be able to help our partners through these difficult situations. And tonight I want to look at a few ways on how to recognize if our partner is overwhelmed. And I also want to look at some tips on how to engage or to help our partner if they're going through situations. When I was researching this particular topic, out of the top 25 problems within marriage and within relationships, being overwhelmed with life ranks pretty high, depending on what platform you're looking at or who's doing the study. But being overwhelmed with life is a stressor, and can be a major factor in any marriage or any relationship that can cause the relationship to deteriorate. It can cause problems. And a lot of times stuff that we're going through in our relationships, we think is one thing, but it's actually our partner's overwhelmed with life, or they're overwhelmed with some situation or circumstance that's causing them to act out in other areas in the relationship. And we have to be able to recognize when our partner is dealing with things in their life. All right. For example, we could be looking for a job promotion, and the stress and energy of trying to prepare for that job promotion could be weighing down on your husband or on your wife, and is causing them to be overwhelmed. Both you all could be having problems with your children. Maybe your teenagers are in trouble, or they're having problems in their academics, and it's becoming a daily conversation or topic in the household, and the relationship is not being cultivated because all the time and energy is being spent on how to fix your teenager, or how to help your teenager, how to give them better guidance, or how to help them academically. And what's suffering is the relationship is suffering because now both parents are overwhelmed with the problems taking place with the children. As we mentioned earlier, holidays can cause a wife or cause a husband to be stressed, to be overwhelmed, especially now that we're dealing with the pandemic and job loss. We're dealing with loss of wages. We're dealing with income that was traditionally flowing in. Multiple streams of income were coming in, and now a lot of those streams of income have decreased, or they have ceased altogether. And now we're trying to prepare for the holidays. We're trying to prepare for family. We're trying to keep things as traditional as we have in the past, and preparing for Christmas and all of these things, if that's the holiday that you celebrate. And you just can't do it. And because the money just isn't there, or the time isn't there. And now you're overwhelmed with the idea of the holidays not being as they have been in the past. We could be dealing with family issues. We could be dealing with taking care of a parent or taking care of parents, and things such like. There are many things that take place in our relationship, in our marriages, that can cause our spouse to be overwhelmed. But we have to be able to help them through their situations and circumstances. Even if you have to go beyond what you can do as a husband or as a wife, or what your pastor may be able to do, or your leadership may be able to do, you may have to go to a professional therapist or psychologist to get the help that's necessary if your spouse or your partner is overwhelmed to the point where what you're trying to do to help them is not working. Okay? So tonight, as I said briefly, we want to look at two things. We want to look at signs. Number one, signs to look for if your spouse is overwhelmed. And number two, we want to look at some helpful tips on how to engage and help your partner. Helpful tips on how to engage and to help your partner if they're overwhelmed with life or situations attached to life. Now, let me make this statement. And I make this statement for me personally. No one knows me better than my wife. And if you're married, I would like to believe that your communication should allow your spouse to know you on a level beyond that of a friend or even a parent, if all things being equal. I would like to believe that I know my wife on a level that is great, considering we've been married for going on 15 years. Okay? So I would like to believe that I know her on a pretty significant level in reference to our relationship. So I say that to say that as a husband, as a wife, you're in this relationship, we should be able to recognize when things are different. So we talk about some signs to look at if our partner is overwhelmed. I want to look at several different signs or several signs tonight. Now, these are not all the signs. It's impossible to list everything. But these are some common ones that I came across and some of the ones that I've seen and experienced personally that should be easily recognized as a spouse if your spouse is overwhelmed or dealing with stuff in life. And when I say overwhelmed, I'm not talking about the day-to-day stresses of life, commuting to work, a stressful day on the job. I'm talking about an extensive amount of pressure being placed on your spouse, where there are mood changes in their life. So let's look at them. Let's look at these. When I'm talking about some signs, these are some possible signs that are an indication that your spouse may be overwhelmed. And I jumped in it kind of quick there for number one here. A mood change. A mood change, like if your spouse is happy, they're sad, they're crying, they're angry, they feel or they seem distant from you, and this is starting to be something this is not normal behavior. They're typically either happy, or maybe sometimes they're sad, or maybe sometimes they're crying, or sometimes they're angry, or sometimes they feel distant. But I'm talking about if it's an unusual mood change in their behavior. It is noticeable. It can be seen. It can be felt. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their face. This can be an indication that your spouse is overwhelmed with something in their life. And you have to open up that door of communication. Okay? This is a possible sign. I know immediately when my wife's mood has changed. I can tell in the conversation of her text message, or even when I call her, I can tell, I can immediately say, "Hon, what's wrong?" Because I know her. And she can do that for me as well. But this is because over time we've built a chemistry that we immediately recognize. And I believe when you're married, I believe this atmosphere of your relationship allows for you to recognize when something is immediately different in the relationship, when something isn't changing, when something is different, is off in the relationship. Okay, mood change. What's another sign? A possible sign that your spouse may be overwhelmed. Forgetfulness. Forgetfulness. If you have a husband, you have a wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, wherever you are in your relationship, and you notice that they are forgetting things on a regular basis, forgetting to show up for their appointment, for their dinner. They're late for their dentist appointment, late for their doctor's appointment. They're behind on the bills. Whatever the case may be, they become forgetful. You say, "Hon, did you forget to do this?" "Oh yeah, I forgot." "Oh, what about this?" "Oh, I forgot." And you know they're typically not forgetful. Now, if your spouse is always forgetful, don't use this as a sign of them being overwhelmed. That they're just forgetful. But if it's unusual that they are more forgetful than normal, they're forgetting things that are common, like an anniversary, like a birthday, like their parent's birthday, forgetting small stuff, like a cell phone bill or utility bill. They're forgetful. Could be an indication that something is tugging on them, and it's possible they're overwhelmed to the point where they are distracted from doing the everyday things of life. They're no longer focused on that which is routine to them. Okay? These are flags and signs that we as a spouse have to see in our significant other. We have to be able to help them. Okay? That's what we're talking about tonight. My spouse is overwhelmed. How can I help? Another sign, number 3. I don't want to rush through these. Okay, we're going to take our time, even if it takes a couple of podcasts. Another sign, an increase in drinking, smoking, pornography, or any other habit your spouse may have or may have picked up. You have to be able to recognize if your spouse is picking up or increasing in habits. Okay? If your spouse drinks, if they smoke, if they watch pornography, if they have other habits that you know they have, but you notice a significant increase, okay? Then let me give my caveat here as Pastor K. I'm not agreeing with these. I'm just giving you some examples of habits that men have or even women have, okay? And I use some common ones: drinking, smoking, pornography, okay? But if you notice an increase, they used to drink on Monday or only on Thursday or only on happy hour or only on the weekend occasionally. But now every night they're drinking. Every day. They can't go to sleep. They used to maybe smoke on a weekend, maybe with their friends, maybe a cigar here, maybe one there. But now it's all the time. You smell them all the time. An increase in habits. They used to occasionally watch pornography, but now it seems like they're always watching it. If there's an increase of bad habits or increase of any habits, this can possibly mean that your spouse or partner is overwhelmed and you have to be able to help them. Hun, I noticed that there seems to be an increase in your alcohol consumption. Is everything okay? Ask the questions. Just ask. You rather know than ignore. That was good. Let's say that again. You'd rather know than ignore than be sorrowful if they find themselves in a bad situation. Mental breakdown, physical breakdown, because we didn't ask any questions. We are the spouse. God has put us here to help one another. I do my wife a disservice if I don't help her through life. And she does me a disservice if she doesn't help me through life. Okay? So we got mood change, forgetfulness, and increase in habits. And what are we talking about? These are some signs we can look for when our spouse is possibly overwhelmed with life or life circumstances. Let's look at number 4. A lack of appetite or an increase in appetite, weight loss or weight gain. If you know that your spouse, you know their eating habits, but you notice a massive increase in their appetite or a massive decrease in their appetite, something may be going on. Something may have them overwhelmed in life. Ask the question, honey, you good? That's a lot of cheeseburgers, hot dogs, and steaks there. You okay? Oh, hon, you haven't. I noticed you didn't eat lunch today. You didn't pack your lunch. You didn't pack your dinner. Everything okay? These are questions you have to ask. Ask these questions, brothers. I know we don't like to ask our wife or to mention weight to our wives. But if you notice significant weight gain or significant weight loss, you got to tap in. Listen, you got to have these difficult conversations. Hon, you got to do it in love. Hon, is everything okay? Everything okay? I noticed, it looks like you're upset about your weight, or you're upset that you're losing weight, or you're upset that you're gaining weight. Is everything okay? Is there anything that I can do to help? You have to find, your wife better than I know them. You have to find a way to do it in love without being offensive. But the bottom line is, you want to know, is everything okay? Okay? Your spouse may be overwhelmed and they need your help. How do you help them? You have to be able to engage them in conversation. Okay? Number five. Signs we can look for when our spouse is possibly overwhelmed. Number 5. Unnatural hair loss. Unnatural. Patches of hair falling out. For your wife, patches of hair falling out. Unnatural. A man going bald, okay, that might be, hereditary part of life. Okay? But I'm talking about unnatural. Clobs and gobs of hair in the shower. Unusual amounts of hair in the shower. Unusual amount of hair. They may even mention, oh man, my hair is falling out. I must be stressed out. They may say little key words, little small words there that we have to pick up on so that we can know that they may be going through something. Unnatural hair loss. Okay? That was number 5. All right, we're gonna wrap it up there. I know you're like, man, I need to get down to how can I help? Don't worry, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Listen, my spouse is overwhelmed. How can I help? That's this new podcast topic that we're dealing with. And my closing thoughts this evening are simply this. Don't be afraid to engage your spouse, your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever circumstance you're in. Don't be afraid to engage them. It's okay. We are here to help one another get through life circumstances. And if you see something unusual, looking at some of the signs we looked at tonight, mood change, forgetfulness, increase in habits, lack of appetite, unnatural hair loss, and we'll get to the other ones next week. If you see something unusual, talk about it. Talk about it. All right? I love you guys. I pray that you guys continue to have a safe and healthy holiday. Don't forget to join us this Sunday. We'll be streaming on our YouTube channel, as well as Facebook and IG, our Sunday service. And we are still talking about, what is our topic that we're still talking about? I've been teaching on things for so long. We're still talking about when God says no. When God says no. All right. So join us. We'll be streaming at 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. All right. Don't be stressed out over these holidays. Share time with your family and friends. Be smart, be wise, be safe. And I'll check it with you guys later. Let's go.